trapped in the game, when the screen pulls you. And Oliver wasn't particularly popular at his school in Manchester. In the hallways of St. Brennan's Secondary, he was the quiet kid in the corner, the one teachers occasionally forgot to call on, the one whose name took classmates a moment to place. Average grades, no sports teams, no particular reputation to speak of. But online, he was untouchable. His username, Ghost Protocol 21, was known across every gaming server he'd ever joined. The moment it appeared in a lobby, other players either aligned themselves with him immediately or quietly prayed they weren't on the opposing team. He was that good. In a life where very little felt fully his, gaming was the one space where Oliver was completely and undeniably himself. So when DEADZONE, the most anticipated survival horror release of the year, dropped at midnight on a Thursday in late October, Oliver had already cleared his weekend, stocked his desk with energy drinks, and told his mom not to expect him at the dinner table until Sunday at the earliest. She rolled her eyes. He retreated to his room. The download began. Outside his bedroom window, the sky over Manchester was doing what Manchester skies do in October, darkening early, the clouds coming in low and fast from the north, the kind of weather that makes the city feel like it's being slowly compressed. By the time the installation bar hit 100%, the first lightning had started somewhere over the Pennines. Oliver put his headset on and entered the game. DEADZONE was a survival horror title set in an abandoned industrial city. Collapsed infrastructure, empty streets, the ruins of a civilization that had fallen to a viral outbreak. Oliver's characters spawned in a derelict terraced house on the edge of the game's starting zone, and within minutes he was deep in it, clearing rooms, managing resources, reading the environment with the practiced eye of someone who had played hundreds of hours of games like this. He was so absorbed that he didn't notice the storm outside had become genuinely severe, thunder that rattled the window frames, lightning close enough that the flash came before any delay, the kind of storm that makes you feel, irrationally, that the weather is specifically interested in you. Then lightning struck the roof of his house directly. The sound was extraordinary. Not a crack, but a physical concussion, something you felt in your sternum. Every light in the room went out. Oliver's monitors went black, then came back on. Oliver blinked. His setup was running. The game was still on screen. The storm outside had stopped somehow between 1 second and the next. He looked at his hands on the keyboard. His hands were on a wooden table, not his desk, a wooden table, old and rough, in a room he had never been in before. The room was dark, thick, deliberate dark, no light source of any kind, the kind of dark that feels installed rather than simply the absence of light. The walls were exposed brick. The floor was bare stone. Everything smelled of damp and something older than damp. And from the other side of the door, heavy old wood, the iron handle corroded to a deep brown, something was hitting it repeatedly. Not knocking, hitting. The whole frame shaking with each impact, the hinges visibly straining. Oliver stood up from the table. He told himself this was a dream. Specifically, he ran through the logic of why this had to be a dream. The lightning, the blackout, falling asleep without realizing it, the brain constructing an environment from the last thing it had been processing. Then the door partially gave way and an arm came through the gap, long, wrong proportions. Fingers too numerous or arranged incorrectly. He couldn't process exactly what was wrong because his mind was moving very fast in a direction away from analysis. The hand found his collar and closed around it. He wrenched himself free and the door held in the gap it had opened, and Oliver stood in the middle of the room, understanding, with complete clarity, that this was not a dream. He looked around properly for the first time. Brick walls, stone floor, one window, small, high up, shuttered, a staircase in the corner going down, a door to what might be a bathroom or a cupboard to his left, and a sense, growing then arriving all at once, of recognition. He knew this room. He had seen it 3 hours ago on his monitor. He had cleared it, found the health kit behind the loose brick on the east wall, noted the gas canister on the shelf below the window as a potential explosive resource. He was inside DEADZONE, not playing it, inside it. Whatever was outside the main door had found its focus now. The impacts came harder, rhythmic, purposeful. Oliver moved to the bathroom door and got inside and braced it shut with his back against it, feet flat on the floor, and tried to breathe. The sounds that filled the house above him as the main door finally gave were not sounds he wanted to spend time analyzing. Movement on the stairs, on the ceiling, which meant the floor above, multiple sources. The specific quality of motion that the game's infected NPCs had, that lurching asymmetric gait he'd watched on screen earlier that night. He was hearing it through walls now, not speakers. In the game, he made himself think clinically the way he thought about strategy. In the game, the bathroom of this starting house contained a supply cache behind the tank of the toilet. He felt along the wall in the dark. His hand found the tank. He reached behind it. A pistol, one magazine, exactly as the game had placed it. His hands were shaking badly enough that he nearly dropped it. He made himself slow down. In the game, the infected in the starting house could be cleared with 7 shots if you were accurate, or baited into the kitchen where the gas canister could be used as an area explosive. The canister was on the shelf by the window. He'd registered it 20 minutes into the game, filed it as a resource. He put his ear to the bathroom door and listened. They had clustered just outside it. He could hear them, that breathing, the sound of it wrong in ways that the game's sound designers had apparently researched too thoroughly for his comfort. He opened the door. He crossed the room in 6 steps, raised the pistol, and fired once at the gas canister on the shelf. The explosion was considerably louder than he expected. He was out of the house and running before the smoke had settled, and he ran until his lungs gave out and he had to stop. When he looked back, the starting house was gone, or rather, he had put enough distance between himself and it that the Manchester fog, or the game's fog, which appeared to be the same thing, had swallowed it. He was on a street, long, straight, flanked by terraced houses with dark windows and doors standing open. A high street at the far end, the shopfronts bare and broken. The kind of British streetscape that normally carried the hum of buses and takeaways and people arguing pleasantly about football. Completely empty, completely silent. The sky the same oppressive gray it had been since he'd arrived, with no indication of sun or time. He started walking. He was 3 minutes down the road when he heard the crying. A girl, young, 8 or 9 by the sound of it, somewhere in the narrow alley to his left. He stopped and looked. She was sitting against a wheelie bin with her face in her knees, the specific posture of a child who has been crying long enough to become exhausted by it. School uniform, blazer, gray trousers, the logo of what might have been a local primary school on the breast pocket. Oliver crouched down in front of her. "Hey, it's okay. I've got you. What's your name?" She looked up. Her face was what you'd expect, blotched and wet, eyes too wide. She grabbed him around the neck and cried harder. She told him about her parents. She said zombies had come to their house. She said she'd hidden in the wardrobe, and when she came out they were gone, and she didn't mean gone like left the room. Oliver held her and told her they were going to find somewhere safe. Then he noticed his hand was wet. He pulled back slowly and looked at his palm. Dark, wet. It took him a moment because the light was bad and his brain was already running at capacity. Blood from her. He took her by the shoulders and held her at arm's length. "Listen to me. Did anything bite you? Scratch you? Did any of them touch you?" She said nothing. She reached up slowly and moved her hair away from the side of her neck. The bite mark was deep, already infected, the skin around it going pale and the flesh beneath it. He stopped looking directly at it. He knew what it meant. He knew exactly what it meant because he'd spent 3 hours learning the rules of this world before being dropped into it. The transformation in the game took 40 seconds from this stage. He was counting before he knew he was counting. Her skin was losing color, starting at the extremities. Her eyes were going from frightened to unfocused. Her fingers, still loosely holding his jacket, were bending in the wrong direction. 20 seconds. He raised the pistol, pulled the trigger. The click of an empty chamber was the loudest sound he had ever heard. He'd used his only magazine on the gas canister in the house. The girl, what had been the girl, raised her head and looked at him, and screamed.